Hello, all you lovely people out there. We have all. I'm already tired. Let me tell you, I'm already tired. But welcome back to the show, Steve. Hello, sir.
Hello, Kyle. How are you this fine day?
Oh
I know
wow,
you're in a joyous
that was
mood
your
today. We won't go into
morning.
reasons why you're in a joyous mood, but I can tell you have
Oh,
a bright step in your gait and in the way you are today. You're
oh, we
happy.
can. Well,
It's up to
it
you.
was people know the date went great. I was a great conversation, and the honesty was refreshing. I got critiqued a little bit, and I thought it was good. It was a good thing. Shannon, as a psychology person, that's a good thing, right? When you're able to put that like critiques, especially on a first date.
When you're able to give somebody constructive criticism and you feel comfortable enough to be honest, then yeah, sure. It depends on the
Yeah,
circumstance, though. As long as it's not
sure.
somebody attempting to be controlling, then yeah, sure. It means they're being honest.
Oh my! Speaking of sweet and dates, Apologia in the live chat. I must just read this.
What did he
How
do?
how she is so smart and pretty at the same time. That is the conspiracy. My God.
Aww.
Makes you want to believe
Oh
in God.
man. How 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 cute is that? Let's say hello
Isn't
to
he
our
adorable?
guests. He is. He absolutely is. I don't know who's luckier, honestly, in this situation. I honestly don't.
Me. I am.
Shannon, good to see you again. Why don't you tell us a little bit about you and your channel, and also plug your charity thing for MS. Tell people about that.
Oh yeah, awesome. So I'm Shannon Q. I have a channel that's called Shannon Q. The entire purpose of the channel is to engage in complex conversation and discuss the intersection between psychology and faith and belief systems. And I recently had a chat with Inspiring Philosophy about the soul, which was really, really interesting. That just happened yesterday, if you'd like to check it out. And tomorrow I will be talking to RC Apologist on my channel about whether or not the Bible condones or condemns rape. So that should be relatively contentious. And I'm also currently raising money for the MS Society of Canada. I myself have multiple sclerosis, and every year I participate in the MS walk here in my hometown of Halifax, Nova Scotia. And I've currently raised a little over $5,000 for the charity, which is pretty fantastic. I have some pretty amazing people who follow me on Twitter and on YouTube who were very, very generous, and I feel very lucky. But I'm raising money up until May 26th. So if anybody would like to donate to that, that would be fantastic. Help support a worthy cause.
That's amazing. What time was the RC apologist thing tomorrow?
Oh, I'd have to double check my phone. I think it's at 8 my time, so
Oh,
that's like 7 Eastern. I think I'll have to double check that.
That's fantastic. People, everybody, make sure you check that out. And such as RussianVids. Hello, sir.
Yes, sir.
Do you take a second and introduce everyone to you if people aren't familiar with you? I believe this is your you've been on here 4 or 5 times, but welcome back.
Yeah,
and introduce yourself.
Yes, thanks, Kyle, and everybody in the chat. I'm sure about 90% want to throw rocks at me right now, but yeah, I've been at this for a very long time when it comes to truth, when it comes to politics, NASA, SpaceX, psychological operations throughout the world, and just covering many different topics, not just one. I have many interests in covering this world we live in, which is not what it seems. It's not what is portrayed on TV. It's not reality when we watch TV. So to sum it up, right now I'm currently suspended on YouTube. I cannot upload. I cannot do podcasts for another 3 months. So that's why I'm here, to hopefully to add in what's going on. Recently, I want to cover a few things, but I'll let you continue on. We'll get into that as we move on.
Sure. Okay. Steve, you have anything you want to say or put out there?
I could only just add to what we did the other night on that whole Duke thing that Duke is continuing on Twitter.
Why did I
so
ask?
if you want to follow that on Twitter,
let it go.
Let me know.
Kyle.
Because that's an ongoing saga. Also, if you guys are hearing rain and thunder and lightning and everything in the background, it is. So if the power goes out here, if I vanish, it's probably because it's pretty bad right now.
Or the Illuminati.
Probably magic.
Where they don't want the
One
truth
of the
to get
two.
out. They don't want me to hear the truth from Russian Vids.
Oh,
So that NASA might
Russian
shut my
Vids.
feed.
If things get too out of control or heated here, I actually have Dave. I sent Dave a sound clip to play so that it'll kind of get everybody's attention. Dave, can you play that sound clip? Do you have it handy? I kind of just threw that out there at you.
He's digging for it.
Oh, wait, here we go. All right, everybody,
Ah,
this is the sound. That's just for you.
Time to
Russian
shut
Vids.
up, right?
Yeah. Okay, Russian Vids. You said you have some things that you want to put out there and talk about. So why don't you go ahead and start us out with some of the things that the truth that we should know. Truth us, Russian Vids. Truth us.
yes, thank you very much, Kyle. One thing I always talk about Freemasonry and how Masons run this world. And the foundation of Masonry is duality. So, the bottom line is this, to sum it up simply, when it comes down to it, when they tell us the world is very old, it's much younger. When they tell us, that the sun is large and far away, it's relatively closer and smaller. If they say, there's no God, there is a God. So they work off this duality concept. And why do they do that? It's working off A to Z. Once your program A, it's hard to reach over to Z. Look throughout history, how many times has the distance of the sun changed? The supposed facts, it's been drastic changes over the years. And that gets into what I want to get into right now, is supposedly the moon is currently in Earth's atmosphere, so-called atmosphere. And I mentioned this before. I said the sun and the moon need basically oxygen to operate. So now they're giving us this truth in 2019 that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere. So that being said, again, they're like, all these years go by and they finally figured this out. I find that highly suspicious. So the way society is, people that love science, they basically, whatever the authority says, we're just going to go along with it. That's what they say. It's true. Example, if tomorrow they said on CNN the Earth is flat, guess what? 99% of the population that are bald earthers, they're going to be flat earthers. They're going to be converted without question. So that's what I mainly talk about, how society has been programmed and they go by consensus. They don't question things because people want to fit in society. People want to be liked and accepted. And this is part of it. Good luck, fitting in with your coworkers, your friends, getting a job, remaining a teacher in a university if you go against consensus. So I just want to throw it there. And if Steve or Shannon Q want to
I have so
respond
many
to that.
questions. I
Yeah,
don't know if I have a response to it, but I have so many questions. Nice
Sure.
to meet you, Russian Vids. I don't think I fully introduced myself. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well. Thank you.
So I want to hone in on one thing that you mentioned, because there's a lot to there in your briefing. So you
Okay.
rediscovered the moon was in our atmosphere. Did I hear that correctly?
That's the latest. Just was a couple weeks ago. It's been revealed by science that the moon is within Earth's atmosphere. You can Google it real quick. Anybody wants to verify that I'm not just pulling that out of thin air, please take your time and do that.
Okay.
I've got it.
And I want to know which layer of the atmosphere. Is it the stratosphere, or where is it at? Where is it located?
And
I find this very fascinating.
You also said something else that I found really, really interesting. And then I have some other questions too, but you said that the sun and the moon both require oxygen to operate.
Yes.
What did you mean by that?
Well, basically,
Kyle,
go ahead, Kyle. You want to jump in?
Yeah, from the European Space Agency, Earth's atmosphere stretches out to the moon and beyond. The outermost part of our planet's atmosphere extends well beyond the lunar orbit, almost twice the distance to the moon. A recent discovery based on the observations by the ESA and NASA Solar and Heliospheric Observatory, SOHO, shows that the gaseous layer that wraps around the Earth reaches up to 630,000 kilometers away, or 50 times the distance to our planet. The moon is flying through Earth's atmosphere.
There you go.
So the gravity of Earth is containing more gas near it and concentration near it than we initially anticipated.
What do you
Well,
think?
the thing is,
Steve?
What, Steve?
Steve's not paid.
What? I'm listening.
Steve doesn't know what to think.
I'll
but
add this
okay,
in,
so
Kyle.
Oh no, I could add to this if you want me to. I mean,
Okay.
no, it's
Go
okay.
ahead,
I've got more questions.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
you're talking about the exosphere, which is so rarefied of the atmosphere. I mean, but it's not what we would consider to be atmosphere. It's exosphere.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's what
which
I'm
layer?
saying.
That was the question.
Sounds like exosphere or whatever. See, I'm not a physicist, so I'm not going to be able to appropriately, or an
There's like 6 or 7
astrophysicist. I'm not going to
layers.
be able to. Okay,
Sorry
sure.
about that.
I'll take your word on that. That's not the portion that interests me. It's the portion that interests me is that you said that the moon and the sun both require oxygen to operate. How did you operate in what fashion, and how did you come to that determination?
Well, they say the sun operates through helium and hydrogen in deep space without oxygen. I just find this how anything can survive without oxygen. Everything that operates, you need that. And so it's that simple. As a flat earther, we live in this contained system. I mean, I mentioned it before. Bill Nye said we live in a contained system. We can't go anywhere. So in this world, briefly, I'll sum it up. The truth is out there, but they throw it in with little, like say, little Easter eggs. Like they'll give us a bunch of lies with science, then a quick one little sentence here or there revealing a little truth.
Right.
So nothing's really hidden.
So who is they in this scenario? When you say they, who's they?
Yeah, they are the people that run this world that basically control the science books and put them out there. And so for example, Bill Nye, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Lawrence Krauss, and these types, they're just spokespeople.
Okay.
They're like more or less actors. Brian Cox, he used to be in a band. Bill Nye was an actor.
Sure.
So these people are not like science-based people. They're entertainers.
You could have other
like
interests.
Yeah, but I want to finish this point. It's like Bill Clinton. A lot of people so-called gravitated towards him. He's relating to people, he's playing the saxophone. So these people, most science people, I don't want to say anything bad, but they're like, they have their noses in the books, they have no personalities. So they have these spokespeople, come out like, again, that have these kind of, I don't want to say raunchy personalities, but kind of like out there to represent science, to create interest. And they don't want someone that has a dull personality, monotone, talking about
That
science.
makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Like you wouldn't, if you want people to be compelled and engaged in science communication, it would make sense to have people who have charismatic personalities at the forefront communicating the message.
Yes.
So I can understand that tracks with me, but you seem to be implying that they were hand selected and aren't in fact scientists or didn't participate in scientists solely because they have a person that you find incongruent with the preconception you have of what a scientist is. And that's evidence to you that there's something amiss? It couldn't just be that they selected charismatic people, or charismatic people ended up coming to the forefront simply by virtue of the fact that they're charismatic?
Well, I'll answer that simply. Like I said, people like Brian Cox and Bill Nye, they weren't initially involved with science. They were, entertainers. That's how they came. For example, Brian Cox's band wasn't successful, so
Sure.
people in power, hey, this guy, we can use it for something else, type of thing. So that's how I see it when it comes to the scheme of things.
So do you think their
like
credentials are fake? Do you think that their credentials are fake then? Because they do have scientific credentials.
Well,
They've been
I'll say this:
published
I don't
in
have
papers.
I don't have proof that it's fake. I cannot say that, but I will say this: they're put the.
Oh, I think you lost you for a second. We lost your connection.
NASA
Are you still
shut
there,
down.
RussianVids?
Play the sound, Dave.
It's just gone? Oh no, that was
Yeah,
starting to get
the
fascinating.
Illuminati can only allow him to speak for
The
so
Illuminati.
long. It's in your contract.
He's
that-
literally disconnected from.
Oh, they're
He rage
really
quit.
after him.
So Shannon,
Shannon,
No,
he didn't
he's
last
I
long
only
at
gone.
all
got
with
like
you.
4 questions.
He'll come back.
I only
Didn't
got
last at
like
all.
But when he's
4
gone,
questions.
Why?
That's
I'm just
so
kind of curious.
fascinating to me.
Why does he think that oxygen is required to fuse helium and hydrogen? I don't
Because the
understand
sun will
I
that.
don't
smother,
know.
Steve. The sun will smother if it doesn't have
And
oxygen
there is
and
oxygen in
cannot
the
live.
Matt
sun.
Powell said that to me too. He said the reason his sun burns hotter is because the oxygen is different in space. When I was
It
talking to him on
doesn't
the podcast.
burn. It's called fusion burn. It's called actually
Fusion.
it is called burning, but it's not what we think of oxidizing burning. It's fusion. So it's protons being combined to helium. But there will eventually be what's called CNO reactions: carbon, nitrogen, and oxygen. So there
Oxygen.
is oxygen burning on the sun
He also
too
said
when
that
it starts fusing
everything.
oxygen. But it doesn't
He
burn
also
it like
said that everything
combustion.
that. Oh, sorry, Steve. He also said that everything that exists requires oxygen to exist. But I mean, there's anaerobic bacteria that
Right.
doesn't.
Yeah, I don't
It
know what he means by that.
metabolizes without oxygen, right? So, not
Yeah.
everything requires. I mean, even most plants, unless I'm not
Oh,
mistaken, I don't
oh,
metabolize oxygen.
guys, Russian Vids was only on this call for 33 minutes before he was disconnected.
Stop it. Is that real?
Look at the
Don't lie
time.
to me.
Look at the time that he logged
Yes,
in
17 minutes.
in the internal
Let's
chat
see.
Oh
window.
wait, we look at the internal.
Okay, 8:17 was when he logged out or
Mhm.
disconnected,
Mm-hmm.
and Russian Vids logged in at 7:50.
Illuminati confirmed, ladies and
Oh.
gentlemen.
Illuminati.
Oh, I'm. Do you think he's really
me-
quit? I wanna
No,
talk
no,
to
he probably
him.
just let
He'll
me
come back,
let me
right?
see if I can. Yeah, let me see if I can find him. Russian Vids, what happened?
I find the mindset
Uh,
fascinating. I can even kind of get he sees the disparity because Brian Cox was in a failed band and now is a prolific and famous science communicator.
Yeah.
He couldn't,
He,
and that means that they selected him to be a science communicator because he was charismatic and he abandoned, I guess, his failed band
That's
to
it.
take money to be a science communicator in order to be successful in that fashion because he failed in another fashion. Same with Bill Nye.
It's not that you can't go look at his PhD thesis
But then
or
the credentials
see his
would have to
CV or
be
anything like
fake.
that.
Yeah. Like it would have to be so intricate. Like his credentials would have to be fake. All of his published work would have had to an intricate plan to select somebody from a failed band to represent, science or misrepresent science just to
because he's
trick
cool.
people.
Because he's cool.
But
He's got that.
you'd have to do that for almost all science.
Here's an example. Would you rather?
Who
Russian Vids
wrote
is
the
back, by the
papers?
way. Here's an example though. Would you rather have science done by boring
Hey, guys.
old science nerd or Mick Jagger?
Rock star.
I'm gonna go with Mick Jagger.
Jagger. That's an obvious choice. There's a
Hey,
clear
Kyle.
choice there. That makes
Hello, Russian Bits. What happened?
left
Did they cut
me.
you off?
I
They
don't
cut
know
you
what
off,
happened.
didn't
It said vMix call just went offline.
they? Uh-oh.
Now I'm back.
The man
So,
came for you.
Yeah,
I
it's
noticed
the Illuminati after me.
that. I noticed that you were only on the call for 33 minutes total.
Yeah,
Russian Vids.
would not surprise me.
Yeah, you said last time that we muted you 33 times. You
I was
counted.
muted 33 times, and
Mm.
33 insults, and 33 everything. That's what it came down to.
Yep.
I have a list. I have
Okay,
to look up.
Where were you guys at? We'll pick up where
Yeah, I was
where
gonna
you two
say.
were.
Yeah, I was saying, Kyle, we're
Right.
politicians. There are people that are very successful business people in this world that are leaders in their industry that have years and years of experience of leading, like I say, a corporation. But you have like a clown like Obama come out of nowhere. You have this goofball Donald Trump who's in the WWE Hall of Fame. It's an insult to have someone like Obama or Trump, these idiots, and I'll call them idiots, put in the most powerful position in the world. How people cannot see this as a rigged system is beyond me. You have Bill Clinton as president, and then you have Hillary run. You have George Bush, a senior, then junior. What's going on here? What the hell's going on here? Why can't people see this is a rigged system where these people are selected and elections are bogus? It's very transparent. These people are very transparent to me. As a child, I watched the Jimmy Carter, Ronald Reagan debate. As a child, 5 years old, I knew these people were plastic, reading off scripts. As a child, I couldn't articulate the words, but I knew this these people were not real. You cannot fake real. And there's nothing real about these people that are propped up in this world. I can see right through them. So that's just me. I mean, call me crazy, but that's how I see it, you know. And they never keep their
So
political promises. Real quickly, like Obama.
RussianVids. Let me say this real quick.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're gonna have to take this slow at a time, because
bits and bytes.
you're saying a lot, and I don't want to play catch up. So
no worries, Kyle. I'll do that.
Let Shannon kind of come in and speak to some of your points, and then we'll let you continue on from that.
And I'm cognizant of the fact that you dislike being interrupted, so I'm attempting not to. But so if I do interject, it's just because you're at an interesting point, and I don't want to lose it, because a lot comes out of you at once. So there's
no
lots
worries.
of
Interrupt me anytime. No worries, Shannon Q. No worries.
Okay,
Interrupt
thank
me
you.
anytime you want. No.
Okay, so I wanted to ask you, because it seems as though the theme here is that you have an innate sort of distrust in the system, and that seems to almost be intuitive for you. Like you felt it, like you just had, a feeling, an inclination while you were watching these people. So how do you come to the determinations that this is in fact the case? I mean, you said that you kind of sensed it when you were watching Jimmy Carter debate, that you could tell he was reading off a script, and that you could tell that he was wooden, and you could tell that it was prepared. But aside from that you can tell and that you had that feeling, what else do you go by to decide, to make the determination that this is in fact the case, and that there may not be something else at play?
Well, that's a good question. And I'll say this, where I am today, it took a long time to get where I'm at. Initially I saw things that didn't add up, but I believed a lot of the other nonsense that was fed to us. I said, oh, then everything could be a lie type of thing. So, to fast forward to where I'm at today, the foundation of this world's a lie, that we're living on this spinning ball that came from an explosion. And, when the foundation is a lie, everything after that lie is pretty much a lie as well. So they have to continue to lie. And I make this analogy a lot. We're talking about dating Kyle before we went live. It's like this.
Mm-hmm.
If you're a married man, and you see this female, she's very attractive, and you're interested in her, and you shouldn't be, but you start a relationship with her, you start talking to her, and you get in a relationship. Well, guess what? You're a married man dealing with a female. You lied to her, you told her you're single. Now you're in a relationship with her. Now guess what? You got to continue to lie with her. That's the foundation. So everything after that lie is a lie as well. So the whole relationship's a lie. That's getting back to this world we live in. This is the foundation. Us, living on this spinning ball, rocket water ball, traveling 500,000 miles an hour through with the sun.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I've just never heard the Earth referred to as a rocket water ball. That's interesting. Sure, it's fairly accurate, I guess. So it seems to me, if I'm understanding you correctly, that you have an innate distrust, and the reason you have an innate distrust is because you feel like the foundation of everything that we're presented and everything that we aspire to know or claim to know is a lie. So, and you see, and the base of that lie seems to be that the Earth is round, and everything else follows from that. What individual piece of evidence was presented to you that you found compelling enough to convince you that there was a lie that's that profound that we all believe?
Well, again, it starts from me covering a lot of fabrications in the news over the years. I mean, real quickly, like, for example, I told you how they put the truth out there. There's Bill Clinton's book called My Life, where there's this one a chapter where he talks about the so-called moon landing, where he has a carpenter and working, while they're watching the so-called moon landing in 1969. And he said his carpenter didn't believe it. He said they can fake things, on TV. And Bill Clinton said this guy's, he thought he was a crackpot. And then Bill Clinton goes on to say, but during my term as president, I saw things on TV that made me see he was ahead of his time. So this is something people can look up. Look up Bill Clinton, My Life, and just look up Carpenter moon landing, and you'll see it. And here's the funny thing is, here's an audio book.
but couldn't the context of that instead have been during the 90s? That's when CGI started to be prevalent in television and special effects started to become more realistic. So during his time as president, television would have been the first he was capable of thing that manifested as realistic, but was in fact just an effect.
Well,
And that would have happened during his term.
Yeah, I'm sorry,
so
Shannon
that
Q.
makes
I apologize
as
for
much
interrupting.
sense. Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I want to be careful. I want to be careful here with Kyle and Steve because they know I cover events. I want to be careful. I don't want to offend you guys because you guys got a little upset with me about the Challenger. There's events I've covered talking about what happened in Atlanta in 1996 with that bombing, where I show a policeman arrive at the scene with his right hand over his left, and he removes his hand. You see fake blood, and he's smearing it on people. I'm the only one that covered this, and basically in the whole world. No one else has touched on this. I have this video footage. So what I'm getting at, this is what he's talking about. And when you have like Timothy McVeigh, who's supposedly executed at 33, just like Muhammad Atta was 33. So they work off this number system. And it's not just the numbers. I show visual footage of fakery and things where they don't add up. They don't pass the smell test. And definitely, I can show you guys this this video footage. It's clear as day. There's no disputing it. You know, no one's there has blood on them when they're filming the supposed Atlanta bombing, and then you see a cop show up again, covering his left hand. Yeah, go ahead.
I need my head to wrap around this because So you were saying, if I'm following what you just said through correctly, the Atlanta bombing, the Olympic bombing in 1996, it wasn't an actual bombing. People weren't actually injured, and a cop showed up with fake blood on the scene and smeared people fake blood. So in order for that to track in my mind, so they orchestrated a bombing, they set off a fake bomb, the people all just lied down, but they didn't think to give these people like squibs or some sort of fake blood that they could apply to themselves. One individual had to come to the scene dressed as a cop and smear fake blood on them. Like that was, can you see how that would be disparate if I want to believe that
let me explain, Shannon Q.
And the only piece of evidence you have is a video where it seems like he might have some blood.
That might be.
And that's
it's not might be.
And that's enough evidence for you to say that this never happened and it was entirely orchestrated. And to what end? Why would they orchestrate something of that magnitude? I don't know that it is. Go ahead.
Let me say this, Shannon Q. Let me say this. It's like this. I believe there's a timing issue where this policeman was supposed to rub the blood, and it wasn't. He came in a little bit too late on the scene. But basically, there's absolutely no blood on anybody. For example, there's this one African American man. He's lifting up his girlfriend or wife's shirt to show supposedly a wound. There's absolutely nothing wrong with her. Yeah, you know, I can tell you this, but if you see the actual footage, like they say, a picture says 1,000 words, and it's basically clear as day. And I've had that video removed 4 or 5 times off of YouTube.
I imagine you would remove
it. Yeah, but the bottom line is this: it's a fear campaign. So fear equals control. New laws can be passed. It's order out of chaos. Through the chaos they create, they could bring in new order. So people, you know, the public runs to the so-called government for help, not knowing the government's behind it. So these laws, new laws, would be passed without this, you know, putting this into place.
You think they're trying to make people complacent? Like no, people are afraid, and because people are afraid, they'll be like, protect me, do whatever you need to do, and then that allows them to pass legislation that they wouldn't have otherwise been able to pass if people not been in a state of anxiolytic fear. So they fear.
Exactly.
What legislation was passed as a result of the 1996 bombing?
Well, that's the thing is, it's very long and complex. Basically, there's a female attorney named Judy Clark, and she's involved with a lot of these psyops. For example, with Gabby Giffords in Arizona, the Unabomber, Ted Kaczynski.
She was. You don't think Gabby Giffords was shot?
She's playing the clarinet, or what? She's playing some instrument supposedly after being shot through the head. And there's actual doctors speaking on this thing. There's no way this is possible. And there's
It's
like a
definitely
45-minute. Well, here's the thing: is there's an actual physician who made a video, a very detailed video, breaking it down. This is a professional and breaking it down, saying, to me, my professional opinion, this woman is acting. I don't believe this woman is actually shot. The way she's, the amount of time she's supposed to recover, it just doesn't jive with a real life situation.
Do you know what part of her brain the bullet entered?
As I recall, it was the back left. I believe it was the back left. I could be wrong on that. It's been a while since I covered that. But basically, she's also married to an astronaut. Yeah, she's married to Scott Kelly. So these people are all connected. They're intertwined. These deceivers are all working together. And again, it's order out of chaos. And they don't necessarily pass new laws right away based on an event that happened today. So it's like what happened in Tasmania, Australia. Yeah, it's like with Martin Bryan in Tasmania, Australia. This wasn't the first time he was headlining.
How do you discern what is a false event and what's a legitimate event? So what criteria do you look at? Like what is your model for determining that, aside from the fact that Gabby Giffords is now playing the clarinet and she's married to an astronaut?
Yep.
I mean, if those seem to be your two criteria for making the proclamation that she was in fact not shot in the head. And by the way, she can definitely play the clarinet after having a traumatic brain injury. It sounds to me like she was shot through her occipital lobe, which is mostly visual acuity processing. It wouldn't have anything to do with her fine motor skills because that's all in the prefrontal cortex, which is up here. So she would and her auditory centers in the temporal lobe. So she all of that, her sound processing and her motor functions would all still be intact if she was shot through the occipital lobe. She would probably have some visual acuity issues, but you don't need to see a clarinet to play it.
Well, the bottom line is, people surviving, a bullet wound to the head is, that's alone in itself. Being a paraplegic, for example, she can walk around, she can get around, and just look at her speak in front of Congress.
Her spinal cord wasn't severed. She wouldn't be a paraplegic unless her spinal cord was severed.
No, yeah, I never said it was, but it can still, affect, affect your whole entire system. But the bottom line is
I know a little bit about brains.
Okay. Well, here's the thing: is if you don't believe me, I really highly suggest listen to the physician who, in detail, this guy's a professional, well spoken, very articulate, going into detail why he believes this is a fabrication. So it's not just me.
So aside from the fact that he's a physician, what reason do I have to trust him? Does he have access to her medical records?
Well, you don't have to. But I'll tell you this right now. I would keep an open mind, and you don't have to believe what he says, but I would look at the evidence and not come to a conclusion based on what I'm telling you alone. Anything I say, people should, I don't have problems with people questioning it, but you should look into it. Look into it deeply.
I'm interested in why you believe it. So he doesn't have access to her medical records at all to even know what portion of the brain the bullet entered or exited, or what part of her cortices were affected. He is a doctor, but what type of doctor? Does he have any sort of expertise in neurology? And he's not even talking about
exactly. That's what he
medical
is,
outcomes.
That's what he was. Yeah.
He's a neurologist. Okay, fair enough.
Yes.
So aside from the fact that he is a neurologist, what reason do I have to believe him if he hasn't actually viewed her medical records to know what portion of the brain would have been affected? Like, he could have other motivations too. Why do you trust his motivations but not other people's motivations? Is it simply because he says things that are appealing to you because they feed into the narrative already? This is the accurate one?
Well, it's the bottom line is this, and I mentioned this before, where a lot of these headline news stories, it's not just one here and there. Basically, they're putting a lot of events into play. Real things happen in this world. You walk out of your house, real things happen. When it's spotlight on TV and it's constantly covered and it gets 24/7 coverage, more than likely it's fabrication. Not all the time. There are real things that happen. There are horrible natural disasters that happen. Those are not fabricated. But a lot of these these highlighted events throughout history, they're put into play. And that goes back, and I mentioned this before,
How
with
do you
former UK
decide?
Secretary.
How do you know which ones are which?
Well, that's the thing is, it's very, very simple. You don't just look at one angle, you look at many. Like I said, there's inconsistency with her walking and the recovery period of time. And what I suggest is this: we can go around in circles about Gabby Giffords. I suggest really looking into all the information that's provided. There's a lot of people saying this, not just me, not just this doctor. There's a lot of people that are
A lot of
questioning
people doesn't
this.
mean me.
Yeah, but the thing is this: again, you don't have
I'd need to
believe
look
it.
at her medical records to see what part of her cortical structures were affected, and also look at follow-up because the brain is incredibly plastic. Neuroplasticity is a well-proven phenomena. You can have a stroke, for example, and damage huge portions of your cortex and regain the ability to do like speak or walk. The thing would hold true for if a bullet went into your brain.
Well, when it comes down to, like I said,
that's besides the point. I'm
Yeah.
still trying to figure out the determinations. I mean, your answer seems to be that if it's covered in the news a lot, then it's probably fake, but not always fake. Sometimes it is, and you look at a picture, and but that's not really an accurate way of discerning truth.
well,
That just seems
Shannon Q, let me
if
respond
something
to that.
fits into the narrative. Okay, sure, please do.
Real
Yeah,
quick, Shannon, you might want to refresh your the browser because you're starting
Oh, am I
to
cutting out?
clip out. Yeah,
Sort of
just a
crack
little
a
bit.
little
So
bit,
refresh and see if we can clear that up.
I'm going to try this very carefully here with my response. Bottom line is this: I've been at this for a very long time. Back in 2008, 2009, before a lot of people were making videos on these type of topics, they're psychopaths running this world. And I'm going to give you how they love to play with the masses like they're a bunch of children. And I'm going to run through things. If you guys want to stop me, you can stop me if I get off, go too far. You guys don't like what I'm going to say. But for example, you see headline stories with a guy like Anthony Weiner. He supposedly showed off his wiener, the play on names. You have a Dr. Carver, who's a coroner at Sandy Hook. He's laughing his butt off during the whole press conference. He's a coroner. That's Carver. You have Orlando with the Pulse. You have Dr. Parrish, okay, the first woman in space, Sally Ride. So they like these play on names, like Bernie Madoff. Bernie Madoff was a real things happen. People lost money, people lost their homes, but they put these things in play. And it's beyond the human mind how these people that run this world operate. It's like they're bored. It's like they have all the money, they have all the power. Now they just like to play with society. And I can give you many examples with these type of events with like, for example, Bobbitt, John Bobbitt. Supposedly Lorena bobbed his penis off. And he goes
Oh
on
my
to make
God.
porno movies. And listen, I'm going to say it's kind of graphic, but I watched the pornos. There's no freaking sever or cut anywhere on his penis.
God.
I had to investigate this. I'm not proud to say it, but I watched this. You can look it up yourself.
No, I won't.
You can look it up.
Thank you.
Go watch the
I
porn
won't
yourself.
follow up on that one.
I will.
Okay.
I will just for the sake of work.
Kyle, you take
Just
that.
for the
Yeah,
sake
you
of
take
work.
that
Kyle is
forward for us, Kyle.
dedicated, man. I'm
Just
telling
for the
you.
sake of work.
I
But
appreciate you
Bobbitt-
taking one for the team there, Kyle. Yeah, no, I get it. I get what you're saying. I get it.
Somebody
I'm sure
does.
it merited repeating, but I get it. So, this is a lot to wrap my head around here, RussianVids. Perhaps we think a little bit differently. So you're essentially saying that there are people that there's other people that can control every event that happens globally, or I guess flatly,
Flatly, yeah.
in your perception. Every event that happens flatly, they have control over it. They can make things happen. They have enough knowledge in social psychology and mental perceptions and crowd conformity that they can carefully orchestrate events worldwide that lead
Yes.
to outcomes that they want. And they've gotten so good at it that now they're just sticking up their middle finger at us by placing randomly placing people with last names that are similar to the events that they orchestrated in those positions, just so that they can laugh at us about how stupid we are, that we haven't realized that the last name of the person in that position is similar to the type of event that they orchestrated.
Yeah, and let me say this, Shannon Q. You know, it's very
Yeah?
simple. Let me explain
That's
this. Let me
not
give you an
simple.
analogy.
You got it. There you go, Shannon. You guys are on the same wavelength. You guys do think alike. Wow.
Yeah, that's
Good.
finally that's good. That's good. Thank
Finally,
you,
yes.
thank you, there, Steve. Let me say this. For example,
No, I get it.
I don't want to. Yeah, let me
I
give an
don't want to,
example.
but I do.
Like for example, like
Okay.
an event like Sandy Hook. All these people in the news, they're sitting in a studio. No one's there.
Don't
Okay, I
do
won't.
it.
I won't say. I won't say
Don't,
Sandy Hook. I'll say any
don't,
event. I'll say any
don't.
event. Any event. Let's just say um, an event happened in the desert where someone supposedly died, for lack of water, for example. Well, guess what? All these networks, or there are people sitting in a studio. No one's there. They're reading off a teleprompter, so it's not beyond the realm that they're all being fed from the same source. They're all repeating the same line. So it's not that difficult. It's not like Don Lemon's there.
So somebody's controlling. In order for this to be accurate, though, somebody would have to have control over all media. They would have to have crisis actors on the ground, on call, in every city, in every town, in every village, everywhere on Earth at all times. They would have to have control over the transportation systems. They would have to have control over gun sales. They would have to have control over air traffic control. They would have to have control over the school systems, the government. They would literally have to have control over everything, business, industry. They'd have to have control over absolutely everything on Earth unilaterally, with
Yes.
the exception of individuals who aren't already involved in their plan. So the
Exactly.
proportion of people that would have to be involved in this plan, because that would also, in order for that to be the case, every single crisis actor, every single government agency, every single air traffic controller, every single pilot, every single bus driver, every single toll taker, every single manager in a business, every single worker at a Walmart, every single clerk at a city like hall would have to have some knowledge, or being controlled by somebody with some knowledge about the ultimate plan, or was given instructions about the ultimate plan, and be staying silent about it.
Well, it's very
Real quick,
simple.
And how are they
One sec.
transmitting information without it being?
One sec. Admin stuff. Can you turn down your gain just a little bit? We're getting like a kazoo effect in the external feed. It sounds
Is
like
that me?
It's
no,
coming
I think it's from Russia.
RussianVids.
It sounds like
okay.
a duck. It sounds like a kazoo, and it's kind of distracting from the convo. So maybe you can just turn down your volume a little bit, because I think it's maybe picking up from your headphones or something. Maybe Russian.
No, I don't know what the deal is. Haven't done
I don't
anything
hear it.
different.
Oh,
I don't hear it now either.
Yeah, I don't hear it now, but I did hear it before.
I don't
All right.
Steve.
Okay.
You guys want
go
me to
ahead.
refresh? Well,
No,
I'll
just
respond to that.
Just turn on your gain a
No,
little bit, and it should
no,
fix that.
don't
Yeah,
Turn your
refresh.
I
volume.
want to hear. I want to hear how this is
Yeah.
organized, and how.
Very simple.
How is it?
Oh, it's very simple, Shannon
No,
Q.
it's not.
Listen,
Stop it.
listen, Shannon Q. I've been at this for a very long time, and basically what happens is, with all these events I've covered, there's always a drill taking place around the same time frame that these events occur. So I'm not going to get into those details because it's a little bit touchy. You don't want me to mention Sandy Hook and all these things.
Absolutely
but
not.
basically, there's drills.
Right.
There's drills taking place. 9/11. I don't talk about 9/11, but there's drills. There's always drills coinciding side by side. So, for example, they're always running these type of drills, and they're coinciding. So, for example, you have an event. I'm not going to talk about a specific event. All you need is, for example, I mentioned Atlanta. All you need is a group of people that they're going to make sure they spotlight, where there's a large group of people, but they spotlight their people involved with it. So people are reacting around normally, but they have their little squad there that are taking it. Like I said, it's basically a live drill passed off as real with a lot of these events. again, it doesn't mean all events that are on the news fabricated. It's like this. I get this analogy. It's like watching divorce court. There are millions of real divorces that take place worldwide, okay? But all they spotlight on TV are made-for-TV productions that are, that's simple. So, again, it doesn't mean real things don't happen. But when it's spotlighted and they bring the story back in the news, I'm not going to talk about events anymore because I know you guys don't like that, so I'm not going to name any events, but when they keep recycling that in the news, oh, this person did this, and they're back in the news, they're keeping the fire alive and keeping the hate alive. And a huge part is divide and conquer, specifically with race, religion, men versus women. In society, they purposely pay men more than women to make it unfair. They want to make us all fighting each other, even,
why?
straight versus...
Why do they want...
Because it keeps the eye... Shannon Q, it's this simple. It keeps us all fighting. It keeps the eyes off those that rule. So it's classic divide and conquer, keeping us at odds. So this is how those that run this world... And here's another thing, too. With all these events that they put in motion, it keeps them... what's the word I'm looking for? Relevant. It keeps them relevant and people needing them. So when there's these events that take place, it really... The public
don't know who they are. But you said the public doesn't know who they are. So who are we running to?
Well, that's the thing is...
And we do have transparency in our government. We can, there's a Freedom of Information Act in Canada. I'm sure you have something similar in the US. You can go to any government agency and you can get copies of bills that are about to be passed. And you can walk into the office of your member of parliament or your member of the Legislative Assembly and discuss the bills with them. And they actually have to have quorums here where they read the bills out loud to anybody who's a member of their constituency that wants to be there, and they have open discussion at those quorums about the bills that are going to be tabled. So there's full transparency in that fashion. So
there's a pyramid structure, Shannon Q. It's like I don't want to. I got to be careful what I say here. It's like with the Trayvon Martin thing, when in front of Congress, you had Frederico Wilson stand up in front of Congress with a placard with the number 33. 33. It's been 33 days. It's been 33 days since this took place, and she had 1 minute to speak by the Speaker of the House. 1 minute to speak. It was exactly at 3:30 Eastern time. I have this. This is, everybody involved in this apparatus. What's that?
You see, 33 seems to be a running joke in this stream. Why does 33 matter? What's with the number 33?
Well, it's very simple. It's the highest. It's the highest degree.
You keep saying things are simple, and they're...
It is, because everything is simple in this world. People make things complicated. People can't explain things simply enough. They don't know well enough.
RussianVids, explain what 33 is before we get too far away from it. Explain what 33 means in the Illuminati. Okay,
it's very simple. Bottom line, biblically, a third of the angels, a third is 33% that were thrown to earth from heaven. So a third of the angels, or 33%, that's the key thing, so that people understand. For example, it's everywhere in society that you'll see it. Like, for example, the KKK was formed by former Freemason Albert Pike. This is a former attorney, former Southern general. He has a statue currently right now in Washington, D.C. He's the only anybody involved with the Confederate that has like a memorial of any type in like D.C. So the KKK, why K? K is the 11th letter in the alphabet. So they work off this numeric system. So KKK is literally 11, 11, 11 is 33. Bank of America, there's literally, you see the two rows, three stripes, two rows. So you look at the logo, you get your 11, 11, 11, 33. It's coded. They love to code things. For example, the moon landing record, 33 hours. Okay, the record for hours in space is 666 days. So these occultists, their numbers are always going to be there, and they're about the numbers. They're about the numbers, signs, symbols. And it reminds me of the famous quote by famous Freemason Manly P. Hall. Once people understand the language of symbolism, a great veil will be lifted from the eyes of men. They'll understand symbolism is very, very important. For example, why don't you do this, Kyle? Why don't you look up Lucasfilm logo? look at the Lucasfilm logo.
Oh no!
Tell me what you see.
Oh no!
Look at that logo.
Oh,
They
no.
Wait,
Oh,
what?
hi.
hide things in
Hi,
plain
Paul.
sight.
Hi, Paul.
Hold on.
Oh,
Now
on,
it
what-
all makes
okay,
sense.
what-
It all comes together.
No.
What?
Tie-in.
Wait.
Tie-in.
What logo?
Okay, Lucasfilm logo. It's George Lucas's logo. So what I'm saying, what I'm getting at is this. Hold on,
Shannon,
Shannon
you're
Q.
busted.
Don't. Just
Okay, what am
just
I looking
listen to what I
You
have to
had
say here.
why did you pick Lucasfilm? Why did you pick Lucasfilm?
Okay, I can show you
Stop
Bill
it.
Gates' Microsoft logo. They're all
Oh,
coded with a
Jesus.
33. Okay.
Okay,
Okay.
what about the
Just my
Lucasfilm
boyfriend
logo?
used
Am
to
I
work for
looking at?
Lucasfilm.
Russian
That's
vids.
funny.
Okay. It's like R2D2 under the dome. Look at the
Stop his
sun and the
movie!
moon
Stop it!
under the dome.
That's the whole movie. I'm not even kidding.
Don't you see
Paul
it?
wrote and directed the movie R2D2 Under the Dome. I'm not kidding. That's
Who
the
did?
movie. My boyfriend.
Oh my goodness. But he didn't come up with the concept. He was instructed how to do it, you know?
No! Why
That's crazy,
would you say
Wait,
R2D2 Under the Dome?
Wait.
Stop
Paul
it.
said
Wasn't
that
it-
Paul
wasn't it
worked on
beneath
that
the dome?
logo. Paul just said that he worked
Paul
on that
did
logo.
work on that
Wait,
logo.
hang on. But it was
You
R2D2
made that
beneath
movie.
the dome. It's your boyfriend's
No,
movie.
it's Under
so
the
you
Dome,
should-
isn't it?
I thought it was beneath the dome.
Is it beneath the dome? Okay, sorry.
man.
Sorry,
Yes,
Yes,
Paul.
beneath the dome,
But
you're
yeah,
right,
that's
Steve.
you.
You're right.
Yeah, okay.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
You're right.
What's
I got
happening
you,
here
Paul.
on this
I got
show?
you.
What the fuck is
Yeah.
happening?
Paul wrote
He
and
busted
directed
you,
the
Shannon.
movie.
He got you.
Shannon,
Got
he
you. You're done.
exposed you.
You're done.
Kyle,
He
can you
exposed
screen share that
you.
logo?
Yes.
I'm
Well,
so
Dave, will you find the logo? Okay, there you go.
I'm dying.
Okay,
I'm dying.
that's the
inside.
dome.
I
Let me break this
can't
down, guys.
anymore.
Shannon, you okay?
Oh, okay, hold on,
Let me
hold
break
on.
this down real quick.
I am
Okay.
not okay.
Okay.
Okay, let
I'm
him
trying
break
to break
down
this
the.
down.
let
All
him-
the movies you could have named. That game that
Okay,
Lucasfilm.
let me break this down here.
all right, Russian
Like-
vids,
like-
walk
like
us
I
through this,
said.
please. Russian vids,
Yeah, like I
Russian
said.
vids, walk us through this logo, please.
Okay, like I said, signs and symbols and decoding things. Lucasfilm in Pythagorean numerology is 33. You have the LTD, that's limited under the dome. You see the clear dome. You see the sun and the moon next to the limited. So there's definitely concepts like Mad Max Beyond Thunderdome. Why does thunder echo? There's a dome above us. You need, listen, to have a pressurized system, you need a solid a barrier. So when thunder echoes, that's the Thunderdome. That's what we live under. You know,
Wow.
Paul worked
it's
on that
crazy.
logo.
I have lost control of the show. I have lost control.
So
No,
what I'm getting at is this, guys. There's a lot of hidden symbolism in logos. How about this, Kyle? Look at the Microsoft logo. Let's break that down. The Microsoft,
Okay,
Bill Gates,
Dave?
yeah, the 1995 version, the very first one with the Windows. 95 was the first.
Did they
first
take it out
version.
after 1995? Like, why would they put it in
Well, they
one version
changed it.
and
They
not?
altered it a bit. Yeah, they altered it a bit. So it's been altered over the years.
Well,
Hmm.
so why would they put it in 1995? Put in this imagery in 1995 and then remove it later on? Did they stop being involved in Illuminati stuff?
Well, we can look at them.
Or could it just be that it's coincidental that you're seeing these patterns and it's some sort of
Well, no,
paranoia?
because I'll break them all down. I'll look at every single corporate logo and I'll break them down. For example, the first Apple computer was $666.66. Okay, this is by Steve Jobs. You know, and the first,
Yeah,
after
and
it was
Steve
the
Jobs, yeah.
Apple. Yeah, and then after the first Apple, then they had the Macintosh. Macintosh and numerology is 33. So the concept of letters have a numeric value, and where the public sees the names, they see the numbers behind the name. So there you go. So
There you
that's
go.
you can see the 33. You can see the 33 to the left and
For fuck's
the
sake.
window. So
Yes,
It's
yes, you
backwards.
can.
It's backwards, yeah.
well, here's the thing
Yeah,
is
there's the three
Bill Gates
and
now,
three.
Yeah,
Yeah.
three in the middle
Here's
there.
the thing is, guys. Yeah, Bill Gates, his name in numerology is 33. His first computer supposedly that he ever used when he was a child was a 311. I forgot the name, but it was a 311 computer. 3 times 11 is 33, like the 33 band, the 311 band, I should say. So he retired after 33 years, just like Letterman retired after 33 years. So they do things. It's like ritualistic the way they operate. It's beyond the human mind. And if it's new to you, of course, it sounds like a bunch of rubbish. But it's like this, guys. If you have a 10,000 piece puzzle you only put a few pieces together, you're not going to see the whole picture. You got to put more pieces together to get the full picture of what's going on. So I've been at this a very long time. I didn't come to these conclusions overnight. This is a long, drawn out thing that I've been involved with for over a
don't
decade.
doubt that at all. So,
oh my God!
I understand.
Wait, Shannon, Paul in the chat just said, "I kid you not, my boss on the Lucasfilm logo project also worked on the Windows 95 marketing launch."
Oh, there you go.
You know what?
Wow.
Here's the thing, guys.
Wow,
They had
Paul.
for Microsoft.
Paul.
Kyle, listen to this.
Don't make it worse, Paul. Paul, why do you do
Oh,
things
you're not
like
supposed
that?
to admit those things. What are you doing, Paul?
Why do you do things like that, Paul?
They're going to take you out, Paul.
Listen to this,
They're going
Kyle.
to take you out.
Kyle, listen to this.
Yeah.
They had Windows 98 Plus. They had an internal code for Windows 98 Plus before it was released. The code word was frosting. Why frosting? They don't just pull it out of thin air. It's 33 numerology. So if people understand, these people that run this world work
Aren't
off.
there better words than
not just
frosting that would
randoms.
come out to 33 that they could have used though?
Yep. You could type it in and just use a Pythagorean chart and you'll see it. And like police, they wear the checkerboard. It's Freemasonry. There's 33 cars in the Indy 500 race. So it's definitely by design. With all these concepts. In
Our
society.
logo, RussianVids. Our logo is made up of 33 pieces. Different pieces
just like
in
the
the middle
UN logo.
there.
Yeah, the UN logo is the same thing. It's 33 segments in a UN logo. And if you decode the UN logo, there's the laurel wreath that's wrapped around it. And that goes back to Greece and Rome. That represents victory. So if people understood, if you could decode these signs and symbols in society, you're going to get a better grasp. Like Lockheed Martin, it's basically two vectors, two chevrons that are intertwined. So these occultists run this world, and people that do not understand the occult, it's going to go right over their head. It means nothing to them because they've never been trained at this. The esoteric meaning of things. There's the exoteric and the esoteric. So, the public's just fed misinformation, and it's just a stupid logo. It doesn't mean anything.
They killed Jesus at 33.
Well, it doesn't say that in the Bible, though. That's approximate. But here's the thing is...
that's too much. We can't believe that. That's too much.
Well, here's the thing is...
the Bible,
here's the thing is, if you go to Cape Canaveral, CC being 33, just like Christopher Columbus, the CC initials is 33.
It goes back that long in history, like 1492. It goes back. You feel like it goes back. I've been quiet and really patient for a long time. Is it okay if I ask a question, please? I don't mean to interrupt, but I feel like you could probably take up the entire stream talking because you have so much. Yeah, sorry. So
no worries.
You say the occult people are running the world, and you also said the Illuminati are, and you also said the Freemasons are. So are they all one unit with three names, or are they three separate entities that cooperate with one another?
Well, I'm glad you asked that question, Shannon Q. What it comes down to is the Illuminati just basically it's a play on names. They are illuminated and they are naughty. So when you watch like Disney and you see the penis in the Little Mermaid the VHS cover, when you see Sex in the Clouds and the 2015 images from NASA, they are literally Illuminati. Listen, when they had the re-entry of the Mir space station, they all filmed this supposedly from Guam, and the little town was called Nate, like naughty.
Are they all the same? You got off track. Are they all the same? Are they all the same, or are they three different entities? Are they? Oh, okay.
I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. Okay. So bottom line is this: the name the Illuminati, they're illuminated, they're naughty, but it's basically a cover for Freemasonry. It's really Freemasonry, and it's one of the same. It's just like, it's like something that has dual names, Yeah, it's the same. It's basically the same thing. And there's different levels, and there's a Knights Templars, which is basically Freemasonry. It's all intertwined, basically all the same. So call them what you want. It's just call them the ruling elite because titles are just titles. It doesn't really mean anything in the big scheme of things. It's just a name. So it's just a ruling elite. Oh, it goes back to
who they are.
Nimrod. Well, it goes back to Nimrod in the Bible. He was a Freemason, and This is not disputed. You look at any Freemason encyclopedia, and they give details about Nimrod. And basically, it was the creation of, due to the confusion of tongues, Masons learned to converse without the use of speech. So numbers are international. Signs and symbols are international. So these Masons it's a worldwide enterprise, of course. So they all, use the same format of numbers, the same signs and symbols. What's interesting, for example,
I
Lockheed
gotta
Martin.
unpack that for a
Go ahead.
second. I know, can I unpack that for a second? What you just said there, because there's something
Sure.
there to unpack, I think, for me. So you're clearly, I'm assuming, a Christian, because you said when the Tower of Babel fell and language was confused, and you referenced Nimrod.
Yes.
That the Freemasons formed because I guess they were clever enough to converse with numbers, because numbers are international. But that's not the case, though. But numbers, I mean, most of us use the Arabic numeric system, but there are other numeric systems. So we've adopted it through most of the Germanic languages, and now, because business is done unilaterally, that Arabic numeric system, and because it's compatible with computer language, is used unilaterally. But that wasn't always the case. So what makes you think that just a small group of people were able to utilize these numbers to communicate with one another, but weren't able or clever enough to be able to use letters or language to communicate with each other? And what makes you certain that the numbers that they were transcribed would have been the same in all of the different languages that they spoke? Like, if one of them spoke Chinese or Japanese and another spoke an African language, and neither one of those languages use our numeric system, for example.
Yeah, well, the thing is, bottom line is you go to Germany, Russia, Japan, China, Iraq, they all have, you look at their jet fighters, they all have the same numbers. They're going to have, not the same exact numbers, but they use the same number system. But it's not just numbers. Again, signs, symbols, dates, colors. Colors are huge. Orange, the only color in numerology that is 33 is orange. So you have the orange order, in Europe. You have Orange Friday. They wore orange for gun violence
color
awareness.
Have a numeric representation? Like, how do you get to orange equals 33?
Okay,
you keep saying that.
Okay. Let me explain it, Shannon. I'm glad you asked, because I'm going to explain it. So there's a chart. Okay, there's a numerology chart. You could type it in right now if you want to screen share it. It's called the Pythagorean numerology chart. So, for example, 1 through 9 is A through I, for example. So there's a second row. So all these, there's 3 rows actually. So all these numbers and letters correspond. So when you spell out orange, the O is a number. So each letter is a
word
number.
orange.
When you add it up, it's 33. So that's how they do it. For example, the Falcon 9.
The English word orange is 33, and therefore you attribute. But what if but then it wouldn't be language. Orange wouldn't be 33 in every language. Then it would only be 33 English. And I think French,
Shannon Q, but you have to understand, English is an international language. You go to India, you go to Germany, they're teaching English. So I understand what you're saying. That's a valid point. But English is the so-called international language. You go to the Philippines, a lot of people speak it. So definitely.
But that's recent. You said this happened all through history. English being an international language of business is why people
it's
teach English.
And
that'll probably be eclipsed by Chinese relatively soon, or Mandarin. But so if this happened throughout history, then that would have only been the case in recent history, because English wasn't that was universally spoken.
You have to remember,
common of the British colonies.
It's not that old. Yeah. Well, the thing is, you have to understand English. But the thing is,
I hate to break in. I hate to break in just for a second. Dave, can you put that up on the screen, real quick?
Oh, I'm afraid.
I just went to a numerology website, and I typed in a word. Not expecting anything. Okay, not expecting anything. Dave, are you ready? I typed in Steve McRae.
Huh.
Steve.
Yeah.
That's it.
Now we got to kill you, Kyle.
I knew it.
Now we got to kill you.
What? I knew it.
Steve, what the hell?
I've gone 49 years of my life without anybody figuring this shit out. In 5 seconds, you destroyed my entire existence, Kyle. God damn you.
There you go.
You deserve hell now. Illuminati confirmed. Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. It's like this, Kyle, when you have like the Hillary Clinton debacle with Benghazi. Oh, there's a double horns. There you go. You had the debacle with the 33,000 deleted emails. So they're coding these stories by the numbers. I told you OJ. The Simpsons 33 and 33-year sentence. All these things. They're just telling you, hey, we're behind it all. You idiots, don't you understand this? So they're basically throwing in our faces. They think we're a bunch of idiots. We're a bunch of morons. And that's what's happening in this world. But people, they're it's like this. People have been down a path of lies and deception. It's too late for a lot of people to turn around and understand what I'm telling them, because they rather just laugh it off as, oh, this guy's a freaking moron. What's this guy? What the hell is this guy talking about? These numbers? It means nothing. It means not. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think that it's I mean, I hear you say they'd rather just laugh it off, but do you think that it is reasonable for somebody who hears all of this, who hears that there are Illuminati Freemason overlords that have, since the time of the Tower of Babel, been communicating with each other using numbers, and that's why they have an affinity for the number 33, that have been controlling everything in world history since time, which is essentially kind of the beginning of human history, and that they have orchestrated events all across the world for that entire time for the purpose of creating dissonance and upheaval so that people would be scared, so that they would throw trust in government. And during this time, while doing this, while orchestrating all of these terrible events everywhere, they've also been interspersing this number that they have an affinity for and tricking us by using names that are similar to the situations that these people are in from time to time. And they're not in control of everything, but they're in control of some stuff, and it's difficult to discern, and you can't really tell unless it becomes prevalent, and even then you can't really tell. Like if somebody hears that, don't you think that it might be reasonable for them to think, well, there's not really any evidence for that aside from, I feel like I see it, we're pattern recognition machines, and I pattern, I'm already primed to look for them because I see things this way, and I feel like I've been lied to. Why wouldn't I just automatically by default assume that everything that I'm seeing is a lie, and the patterns that fit into the perceptions that I have?
Yeah, I'll just say this. It's very simple. New information it's like a meal. It takes time to digest and process. A lot of this stuff, I didn't just jump on board and believe it right away. A lot of research. I've been again at this for a tremendous amount of time. And it's simple as this. These people that run this world, they don't want things to happen by random. It leaves things out of their hands, out of control, so they could bring the society in a certain direction. And they know how the human mind works. They know how to control people. And that's what it's about. It's literally about control. And I'm not saying, for example, real plane crashes don't happen, but certain events, they fabricate. It's beyond the human mind, again, why they do it. Like I live near SFO airport, very close. And the 2013, no one covered this. Oh, maybe me and another guy named Dave J. He covered as well, where this plane supposedly crashed on the runway, covered by CNN. And here's the major problem. This plane did a complete belly flop. And guess what? I saw on the local news, KTVU, they hauled this plane from the off the runway. Guess what? There's not a scratch in the underbelly. The top part of the fuselage is incinerated. There's not a scratch in the underbelly. I know a guy that works at, I don't want to say the airline. I don't want to get him in trouble. I'm not going to say his name, but he works at the airline. He told me, you're freaking nuts. What are you talking about? Then I showed him the footage. He goes, that plane should have exploded. He goes, I thought you're out of your mind. I know. He goes, you know what? When I was working, they didn't let any of us near that plane. Also, people try to, emergency workers, for example, off duty, on duty, they try to come to SFO and help out. They're all turned away, every single one. So this is something I have firsthand experience with. And it was Asiana Airlines. Asiana Airlines, guess what? It's 33. So, and you had a kid wearing an orange shirt with skull and bones on it, said, oh yeah, I think it was in the plane, and it did this flip, I think, and it's a bunch of nonsense. So a lot of this stuff, I get it. What I'm getting at is this, everybody, is a lot of what I'm saying, of course, initially you write me off as a nut. I've had so many people that come to my channel over the years saying, I thought you were absolutely crazy. I thought you were a nutball and you should be locked up with a straitjacket. But I'm back on your channel because I realize a lot of things you're saying, even though insane, we live in a crazy world. That's the conclusion I've come to over the years. And it's very easy to control because they control
How
all
do
the
you know
media.
you're right though? Like how do you know for certain you're right? Like what's been tested out aside from seeing these patterns or saying that you recognize these patterns and there's instances you can see the number 33 or you can see orange or somebody recovered and you didn't think that they should have recovered or you saw somebody make blood on somebody like how aside from looking at footage, which you admit can be doctored because we think they doctor footage, like what is special about your perception of the world that makes you able to discern this accurately when the rest of us?
I'll tell you. Yeah, I'll answer that really quickly. Again, it's not just the numbers. It's not just the footage. I don't just work off one piece of information. I work off multiple pieces of information to come to a solid conclusion. For example, the TSA supposed officer shooting at LAX. You can look this up. The local station, even CNN, they said he bled to death. They said he bled to death. It took 33 minutes. When they had the ceremony for this TSA officer, it was at gate 33.
Let me, RussianVids, hold on, RussianVids. Let me stop you for a second. Let me stop you for a second.
Somebody died.
When Shannon when Shannon's asking these questions, you tend to not answer. You give an example of something that that you want to give an example of. Instead of doing that, can you just answer without the example? Because all she's interested in is the meat of what your beliefs are. Like we know that you have all of these things of examples of things, but that kind of gets in the way of the answer that she's trying to get. You see what I'm saying?
I'm getting to that. I was going to get to that, Kyle. That was just an example before I continued on saying how I added it all together, how there's a pattern. It's not just one pattern. Like 9/11, after 33 years, the towers came down. That's another example. But there's patterns. There's consistent patterns with all these events. So it's not just, I understand there are coincidences. I was 33 years old, before, and 33 cornflakes in my bowl. These are coincidences. But there's a solid pattern. After a time, you're going to say and realize this is not just, you can be called a coincidence theorist if you believe these are just coincidences. So it's that simple. Here's something I want to touch upon, if you don't mind me interjecting here, that people do not look into details. For example, when it comes to Masonry, there is what's called ritualistic. They have this ritual, basically. It's a humiliation ritual where they put a blindfold on you, a noose. You have one breast showing if you're a male, one pant leg rolled up. So, for example, they work off this humiliation, ritualistic humiliation. Here's something I want to touch upon. You guys all seen Bart Sibrel's Astronauts Gone Wild, correct?
No, I have. What? I feel like you're a little all over the board. Like we just jumped from
this is
a TSA agent to the because
I'm moving too fast. Maybe I apologize for that, but I'm trying to give a concise, detailed information in the time we have to work with. So I'm jumping around, but I want to explain something that people do not look or look into or think about. Okay, let me just explain, and after this, I'll be quiet. You guys can follow up. There is a man.
I don't believe
he worked for NBC. Yeah. Okay. There's a man named Bart Sibrel, very famous. You guys will know who I'm talking about after I mention him, after I describe what happened with him. He used to work for NBC News. He confronted every single astronaut from the early Apollo mission. He went to each one of their homes. Basically, he was set up by someone of high power to go in each of their homes and confront them about faking the moon landing. Don't you find it interesting, for anybody that knows what I'm talking about when it comes to Astronauts Gone Wild? Why isn't it after, for example, Alan Bean was interviewed and confronted by Bart Sibrel? Why, you guys faked this? You guys faked this, and he goes, you came here on false pretenses. I didn't know you were going to talk about this. You get out of my house. And it was pretty volatile. So what I'm getting at is this: how was he able to enter. Hold on. How was he able to go from astronaut number 1, Alan Bean, to Buzz Aldrin, to every single astronaut, and not one of the astronauts warned their fellow astronauts, hey, this is guy Bart Sibrel, he interviewed me, and he basically blindsided me, confronting me on film about the moon landing being fake. And he did interview after interview after interview after interview with all the astronauts. Not one called their fellow astronauts and said, hey, don't do
RussianVids. I thought when you said astronauts going wow, I thought you were talking about like there's a shaky camera that goes around to astronauts when they're taking off their helmets and like throwing it up in the air.
Yeah. No. This is what it is, Kyle. It's basically a documentary about this man who worked for NBC News going around, and astronauts were basically blindsided by him. It was like an episode of Punk.
Yeah.
And what I'm getting at
is Russian.
Hold on.
Let me tell
Why
you
is
this.
this relevant?
Well, we get what you're
I'm
saying, and
getting
you
to
said we could try to jump in. I would be livid if I put that much work into doing something to have some no-name idiot who doesn't understand these topics and physics and none of this stuff, thinking that it's all a conspiracy, getting in my face with a camera telling me that I'm a liar. I'd be pretty livid too. Same thing if I had a family member that died in one of these tragedies, and you're telling me that it was all fake when my family member's still dead, I would be pretty livid as well.
Here's the thing is,
I think his overreaching point, though, is the RussianVids' point is that he managed to he pissed off one astronaut, justifiably so, and that astronaut didn't get on the phone and call the other astronauts and say, hey, there's a jerk that's coming around to piss us off.
Yeah.
But that doesn't. But here's the thing that you need.
But Shannon Q, I'm sorry to interrupt you. Shannon Q.
No, hold on, one sec, please.
Hold on.
1 sec. Here's the thing that you need to consider, though. You need to consider that maybe the first astronaut that he interviewed, or the second, or the third, didn't know what this interviewer's scheduler was to call and warn other astronauts. He could have thought that he was the only one being interviewed. So he wouldn't have had the foreknowledge required to call the other astronauts and warn them, because he didn't know that they needed to be warned.
Well, this is the problem when I bring up things. I'm not able to give all the information, and I'm cut off basically before I can get to what I'm getting. The point is,
I apologize, but I feel like I've been very generous.
Well, you have not been cut off. You've had 90% of the time to talk. Trust me, you've not. Been
I know. You've talked significantly more than me.
I'm sorry, but let me finish. Let me continue on. What I'm getting at is these people never really witnessed space. This was set up by those in power. These astronauts are just actors. We're gonna punk them. We're going to see how they react to this. This guy's he's connected with NBC. Went in, like I said, not one. He was in their homes. Here's the point: astronauts rarely give interviews, and he was able to enter all of their homes. So it's very suspicious that not, for example, he even confronted Neil Armstrong, and Neil Armstrong never does interviews. He was able to interview all of them. Highly suspicious.
Chris Hadfield came to my kids' school. They go on TV all the time.
I mean, there was this recently, RussianVids, there was this recently, two twins. They did an experiment where one twin, as you know, went in space and the one didn't. There's biological facts that have been documented by this twin having different physiology because of microgravity. This cannot be faked.
Steve, you're talking about Scott Kelly
and everything is fake.
And his brother.
Yes, Scott Kelly.
No, I didn't say that. I said if it's headlined in the news, it's more than likely a production. Not always. There are real things that happen that do get spotlighted, but those stories usually go away fairly quickly. They do get covered. There are real plane crashes. There are real tragedies, specifically weather related, that are not fake.
We're coming up to the hour and a half mark, so we've got to just everybody keep in mind we've got to because I still have a lot of super chats and questions to read, so we're gonna have to kind of come to a certain point. RussianVids, when you answer Steve's question, tell me this too: what is your view on Alex Jones? Okay, I'm glad you mentioned Alex Jones. Just like Glenn Beck, they're both 33 numerology. He's just an actor. He is just this is what I always tell people. They don't only control the mainstream media, they control the alternative media. His job is to make so-called conspiracy theorists look like nuts. He acts outrageous. He's a loon. And people straw man you. Oh, you must be an Alex Jones supporter. No, I'm not. Because he's an absolute doofus. He's put out there to make people like myself sound crazy.
but he doesn't touch upon things that I do.
I
He's
don't think
just
you need Alex Jones's
general
help,
blanket.
RussianVids.
What's that?
You don't need Alex Jones's help. I don't think. Like when he said when
No,
Alex Jones
I'm
says
my own
that.
man. I don't need
Well, I
to be
know,
strong man
but
by
when
other
he's,
people. Yeah.
when he says things like the Nazis did a deal with aliens to put the cell towers, use those to be able to spy on us. Is he just talking out of his ass, or do you think there's something to that?
No, he's just a liar and a fraud, and I have no respect for him whatsoever. He's connected.
Okay.
He's connected, and just like Joe Rogan and who's he's buddies with going back many years. So yeah, I don't respect even people like Bill Cooper, Jordan Maxwell, all these people. You see them doing Masonic Masonic handshakes with each
Yeah.
other. So again, you can read between the
Shannon,
lines with these people.
Shannon, since we're committed to the close, I'm gonna let you have one more question. The question of the night. If you could sum up a question that you and RussianVids, when she asks you this, give her a direct answer and don't give us an example. All right, direct answer.
That would be
Shannon.
great.
Sure thing.
Okay. So I feel like this is the crux of all the questions I've been trying to answer throughout the night. Is you're looking at a situation that happens that's in the media or any sort of tragedy or not even just a tragedy, major event that happens. What information do you assess to discern whether it's real or fake? How can you come to a serious conclusion that they're real, but this one is fake? Aside intuition.
Very simple. I said it before. You can't fake real. There's never any tears with these people that are interviewed on TV. You look at local news, real bad things happen. You see real emotion, you see real tears, you see redness in the eyes. These people it doesn't pass a smell test. So when you remove your emotions, when you hear like of a so-called tragedy, I analyze things, not just what I see on TV, the interviews, the numbers, how everything comes together, where things don't add up. And basically, for example, with I'm not going to name the school, but you don't see a drop of blood, you don't see a single bullet hole, and they tear down the school. So we have no objective proof of something happening. We have to take their word for it. So I need evidence of something for me to believe it's true. And these are known liars, and I don't trust them. So again, real things do happen. Am I right 100% of the time? No, I'm a human being. But I know for the most part, we're being lied to in a grand scale about a lot of things. Have I been wrong about certain things in the past? Yes. But I know this. We are being manipulated on a grand scale. Literally, the world is a stage, just like William Shakespeare once stated.
Okay. All right. So here's what we're going to do now. I'm going to give each of you a few minutes. This is mainly directed at you, RussianVids. A few minutes. So sort of keep it brief, okay? Because we've literally gone through. I've been counting 33 conspiracies tonight. All right.
Yeah. No worries.
So in order so that this podcast episode doesn't last 3 hours and 33 minutes, I'm going to give you 3 minutes and 33 seconds to sum up your night. Anything that you want us to know, then we'll do the same for Shannon. Seriously, and RussianVids, when Shannon goes to do her closeout, we're not going to interrupt each other. So Shannon,
okay.
To RussianVids, to Shannon. Final statements, okay? All right, whenever you're ready.
Okay, I'll just say this real quick. To basically, the foundation of this world is based on duality. When it comes down to it, the flat Earth and creation, they go hand in hand, and it's observable. Where we view this world as flat. We don't see macro evolution taking place. When we see animals giving birth, we don't see any type of evolution taking place. It's never been witnessed through science, through observation or experiment. I don't count fossils. It's a lot of conjecture. So I don't validate that as proof of anything. Conjecture. So when it comes down to it, this world that I believe a creator created, what it comes down to it is this: everything there's a reason. For example, you have two fruit trees, like a plum tree. You need a bee or an insect of some type. If not, you're not going to get fruit. there alone tells you there's a crater involved, where this is by design. You have your nose above your mouth. It's not just placed there by a coincidence. A crater did that. It's by design. So, for example, salt water. I'm jumping around here. Salt water is highly conductive. How do tides work? Tides work through electromagnetism, with the sun and the moon circling above the flat earth, circling above. So that's why there's no tides like in a lake. So all these things, everything, there's a reason why the creator created it, and it's not by chance or coincidence. The moon, why does it seemingly, people, they say in science that it's a reflection from the sun. No, it's the sun and the moon work together. The creator, basically, the moon's like a rechargeable battery. The sun does power that moon. The moon's a mystery, but definitely I've seen the sun and the moon above the horizon, 11 a.m., 2 p.m., all throughout the day. What is the other side of the ball Earth getting as far as light? So what I'm getting at is everything is in plain view. Everything's in plain sight. Everything is very simply explained. If people just had new eyes to see things in a different way. You don't have to agree with me. This is my perspective, my view. We live in a world that's literally a stage, and when you remove God, it makes them God. It makes the people that run this world gods. So
RussianVids.
I think he disconnected.
So-called gods.
Wait, he's back.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, it's back.
You're back.
Yeah,
Can you hear us,
I'll
Russian?
end there because I think I'm at 33 seconds there left to go.
Yeah.
The Illuminati overlords will be pleased.
You have 33 seconds.
I know I'm jumping around a lot, but I just want to get in points. That's how I operate. Sorry about that, guys.
Sure. Yeah, that's fine. Shannon?
Okay, thanks, RussianVids, for having a chat with me. You weren't muted even once this time, so that's cool. Sorry if I talked over you a little bit, but you can be quite verbose, and it's difficult to get a word in edgewise with you, and I was interested in asking you some questions, so I hope you forgive me if you felt like you were talked over. So,
no problem.
The last thing that I would have to say is that one of the things that I'm very interested in and intrigued by and have a great investment in is information discernment and assimilation. How people go about engaging in consuming information and incorporating it into their perspective as they view the world is something that is of great interest to me. So if I had a closing message, I would say that one of the reasons I was interested in talking to RussianVids is because we are so diametrically opposed in how we see things, and I was interested in kind of trying to figure out why. And I would encourage people, anybody, all people, that when you're approaching anything or when you're consuming any form of media, please look at the sources for that media. Delve deeper. Don't take things on face value, and be an advocate for your own understanding. Don't fall into the trap of being persuaded by something that just sounds as though it fits your intuitions. Instead, delve deeper. That's all I really have to say.
And go ahead and plug the your MS thing again, and if you want, put a link in the chat too, so people know. Because there's 700. There's 733 people watching now. So
hi, 733 people. Yeah, I'll go find a link while you're closing off. And thank you.
Sure, absolutely. Okay, let's get to the super chats and questions. Steven Steen, did he just quote the X-Files? Oflamio, how do I join they? True Blue, it all still comes down to the one question: why would they lie about the shape of the earth? There's nothing to gain, yet they keep saying it. Do you have a very brief answer to that? Very brief.
2 reasons, real quick: to hide the creator, and $52 million a day by NASA's budget. They want to hide the creator. That's why they're lying about this explosion from nothing, creating this ball. By the way, real quick, supposedly Earth first formed as a disk. It was first a disc, then it shaped into a ball. So that's more mockery right there. So that's one little piece of trivia a lot of people don't know.
Okay. All right, Steve, this is going to be for you. Area 85. Can you please explain to RV that the moon is not in the atmosphere?
Yeah, it is definitely not in the atmosphere.
Oh, I'm sorry, Steve.
It's thousand. The moon's about I think it's 2.5 light seconds away, a couple 100,000 kilometers. It's not even in the exosphere. What the exosphere is the part of the atmosphere where you don't even have a molecular bombardment with each other. It's so rarefied that you don't even have much collisions going on, which means that there's not a lot of kinetic energy. This is why on the higher portions of the atmosphere you can have these space stations that exist in very high temperatures, but these temperatures are individual particles. They're not a matter of density because it's so rarefied. So the moon is not considered to be in the atmosphere in that regard. No.
That's
Okay,
technical. What? I shouldn't say anything. Go ahead.
Okay.
That's
Arlo,
okay. If I
Jeremy's.
got a rebuttal. Well, that's
Oh,
that's not consistent with what is said in the article. So, the way Steve's breaking it down is contradicting what science is saying. So I just want to say that.
That's not what science is saying.
we'll
You got to
we'll
understand
have to
pop
bring you
science
back
from
for that.
actual science. Yeah, pop science likes to use a lot of terminology that's not precise. I tend to use precision. People know that by now.
Okay. Yeah, they should be more accurate then. They shouldn't mislead the public, don't you think, Steve? If you're correct, they're misleading the
I think a
public.
lot of
Don't you think
science
that's
Oh
not?
no,
things are.
Steve.
They do it for
Steve,
headlines.
just
They do it for headlines.
oh no, Steve.
You have to
You are
read the rest of it.
33.
It's not just the headline. Well, headlines can be misleading. That's part of journalism. But the body
Arlo,
is what gives you the information.
Arlo, Jeremy
It's like a
says,
reality show, this world, man.
Arlo wants to know, Russian Vids, if you ever had a pet rat and named it Arlo.
Oh, Arlo goes way back. I named him Arlo the Rat a long time ago. Maybe it was 4 or 5 years ago. He used to watch my videos, and I call him Arlo the Rat. So that's funny. We go way back. He used to troll my channel a bit, so that's funny. I
Okay.
didn't know the name until he said the rat, and it totally popped in my
Yeah.
mind again. So I know who he is.
Ash Scott's Russian Vids, please stop exposing our secrets. We know where you live. We are everywhere and nowhere. We control everything. We are watching you. Now do 10 push-ups, or I tell the sniper to take a shot.
Oh my God, Ash.
I'm doing this for my bunker,
Yeah.
I'm
Are
doing
you
this
in
for
a
my
bunker for
bunker,
real?
guys. I have to be careful,
Are you
You
really in
don't
a
really
bunker?
have a bunker.
He's in a
Don't
bunker.
joke.
I bet
No,
he is.
Don't
just
kid with
joking.
me.
Yeah.
Okay,
It
good.
wouldn't-
All
It
right.
wouldn't surprise me.
Because I
Kuyasa
can't
said-
tell any more Russian vids.
The
Yeah, people
Shaluminati,
tell me that all the time.
the Shaluminati East Asian branch is not happy with Russian Vids whistleblowing. Say smugs 3 times, or we will be forced to act.
Yeah.
By the way, Shannon, do you know what that is? We're in later this week. We're unveiling in the non-sex shop, our merchandise store, Smug Steve Smugs.
It's gonna be a huge shit. I'm getting one. I'm getting one. I love that.
Kyle? Hey,
Smitty
Kyle.
came up with that. We're giving Smitty all the credit on that one because Smitty was brilliant.
Yeah.
That was one of the greatest. I don't know how we
Yeah,
didn't
Russian
think of
Vids.
that, but Smugs. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
I
Yeah, Kyle, I want to
Yeah.
throw something real quick.
Smart audience.
Mhm.
I think we should
Smug
put.
Steve,
I
smug.
think we should put as a subtext on the mug. I got smugged at the non sequitur show, or on the non sequitur show.
That can be on the bottom, so when you tip it up, you'll see it.
What do you very briefly, Russian Vids, because I have a lot of these to get to.
Yeah, like I said, real quick, the world being a stage, when celebrities say, oh my goodness, they die in threes. It's always out of nowhere. Out of nowhere. It's like it happens in threes, and people are always expecting after number 2 happens, there's a third. They retire in threes. The world's a stage, literally. People only die, of course, but
Does
these
that
people
mean,
go on
does that
to
mean
another.
threesomes are of the devil? Are threesomes of the devil?
Well, damn right.
No.
Devil's Triangle.
Listen, goats aren't evil. Listen, guys, goats aren't evil. Owls aren't evil. They just take it for their own and they pervert it for their own type of use.
Russian Vids, we got to
This is
look.
so
You're
much.
throwing too much at me. Okay, there's too much. Russian
So
Vids,
much.
too much. I
That's what I
can't.
do.
The Prince of
I can't.
Dreams. The Prince of Dreams says thank you for your rigorous research into Bobble's involuntary castration. Every profession needs a prodigy. That was
Yes.
that was something else too. Akatsuki
Watch the
gang.
video.
Yeah, Shannon, it's very simple, simply stupid. The Athens 619, Shannon Q.exe has stopped working. Oh, somebody put in the chat earlier, Shannon QAnon.
Yeah.
Well,
She works for the Illuminati. Exposed.
I am connected to Lucasfilm.
There you go.
Akatsuki
admitting
gang
that.
says Shannon was part of them the whole time. Kuyasa says, oh man, why would you put something in Latin? I'm assuming
Just to
that's
mess
Latin.
with you.
It's
Mag-
Magavte la nata, dude.
Yeah, what does that mean?
No idea.
No clue. I know how to say it. I don't know how to
Translate.
invent your
That's what it means.
Go to Google
NA
Translator.
says
That's what it's for.
NA says RussianVids is full of shit. Godless Engineer says it's long, drawn out, and complicated, but it's simple. It makes sense, right? Stephen Potts says Bill Gates worked for 39 years, not 33.
No, retired for 33. That's incorrect.
Fletcher Eiler says the non sequitur show equals they, confirmed.
They live. Obey.
True Blue says, I bet RussianVids believes in giant dragons. Do you believe in giant dragons?
No, I don't believe in cloning, giant dragons, a Mandela effect, none of that garbage. It's all junk.
Cool.
That's too much. Okay.
Cajun
That's
Crustacean says, the numbers, Mason, what do they mean? Godless Engineer, it was Illuminati the entire time. That's what I'm gonna. That's the next shirt, by the way. That's the next shirt.
Illuminati.
Illuminati.
Yeah.
We're gonna do a shirt
Illuminati.
with. We're gonna do a shirt with the Illuminati. The Mind of God says, credit to non-sec for giving RussianVids a voice. Peace. Jay,
Thank you.
This fellow Maritimer feels your pain. Shannon Q. Macabre. Malefica?
Yeah, Macabre.
Some of these names, I tell you.
Malefica. Yeah, he's a cool guy.
King, I'm sure he is. It's just the names, like, and it's me and my ability to pronounce them. They don't go hand in hand. King Philip and the Knights Templar tortured to death. By the 14th century, the Knights Templar were in a financial institution. They refused to lend the King of France money to fund a new war. He had all of them killed. Who's your atheist? Since RV likes using Pythagorean calculations for his numerology, he should be using the Greek alphabet order to get the real calculations. Now, that's an interesting.
Well, can I jump in there real quick? Pythagoras, he's the one that came up with the ball earth as well. And it was named in his honor. It wasn't created by Pythagoras himself. Just want to throw that in there real quick. But he invented the ball earth. He invented it.
Yeah, just made it up. Exactly.
Yeah, he did. Basically.
Lysandring person says, well, never a dull moment. That is true. Rhomboid Goat Cabin. I'll tell you these names. Rhomboid Goat Cabin. Okay, I hope that, that's not saying that right. Goat Cabin. Moon landings cause autism. Wriggles World says, because reasons. Nicholas Lamar Suter says, Shannon Q, you are killing it. The Prince of Dreams, if Pelogia equals 33, numerologically, I'm switching sides but I want to stay naughty.
Real quick.
The past,
like
hold on. The past has been an auditory fever dreams. I don't know if it's allowed. Go ahead, RussianVids.
Yeah, I was gonna say real quick. People like a lot of these people and famous people, their real names were changed. Of course, there's a reason. Like Bill Clinton was born Bill Blythe. Clinton's a 33 name, so you have a lot of that with a lot of celebrities changing their names, and not to talk about the Jews, but a lot of them have they change their original names to non-Jewish names.
Okay. I didn't think you were going to. Okay. You didn't go. Okay, you didn't go where I thought we were going to go. That made me nervous.
Let me tell Russian something. Russian, do you know that?
Steve, don't perpetuate it.
Well, no. Do you know it was actually? Well, he said Pythagoras came up with the flat Earth. Do you know Pythagoras actually was the one that determined that Venus was? Yeah, ball Earth. You know, he was actually the one that determined that Venus was Hesperus and Phosphorus in the morning star and the evening star. He realized that the one object he was looking at was actually Venus. So Hesperus and Phosphorus were the same planet. He did that by using round Earth methodology, just to let you know.
Yeah, so, and of course, Copernicus gets credit for it. But you're right, though. Pythagoras is the one that is put on the shelf. Basically, he came up with the whole concept of the ball Earth. It was put on the shelf, and Copernicus, he really gets the credit for it.
I'm tired, RussianVids. I'm tired, man. You're wearing me out. How do you go?
About like, that,
Stephen,
like the Energizer Bunny.
Stephen Potts says the World Trade Center was 28 years. Research your conspiracies, please, RussianVids.
Nope.
No,
Little
Sparrow
incorrect.
says we know.
He's rounding. Okay.
We know you don't agree.
We'll let them rounding.
We know you.
Plus or minus.
We know you don't agree.
This is fact.
Oh my God!
That the North Tower construction started in 1968. This is not. This is a fact. The same year the 9/11 calling system went into play, nationwide was the same year tower construction started. Both intertwined. Okay, it's a fact.
I don't
You
even
tried
know
to
what's
bunk me.
happening anymore.
Okay. Little Sparrow
Plus or
says
minus
Russian
a
Sorry,
few
Vids.
sorry,
years.
Do you know what confirmation bias is? Legitimately curious. Do you know? Yes or no? Do you know what confirmation bias is?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm biased
Okay.
to my own information.
Okay. The random explorer says this guy has taken us way down the rabbit hole. Translator
That's true.
Carminium says maybe Russian vids should be suspicious of anything involving the number 82. Why? If you cut the numeral in half and flip the leftmost half around. Ooh, that's a good point.
Well, I knew
Jared
that.
Stain
Yeah,
says,
absolutely.
Bill Burr. See what you did, translator? Congratulations.
Stop it. Stop.
Jared Strain says Bill Burr was not with NBC. He scheduled an interview with one astronaut claiming to be with the History Channel. The others he confronted in public. Kuyasa
It's
says,
not Bill
I'm
Burr.
Facebook.
It's Bart
That's what it
Sibrel.
says.
So that's wrong.
Oh,
It's
well,
not
I'm
Bill
just reading
Burr.
what
It's
the
Bart
super.
Sibrel.
I'm just
Yeah,
reading
he doesn't know what he's
the super chat
talking
said.
about. Just tell him that. Just translate
You
to
just
him.
did.
He's clueless.
You just did.
You just did. Kuyasa says,
Okay.
I'm
Probably
face
heard
palming 33 times. Mark Beiser says, I've learned tonight that an extremely reliable method of discerning the truth about a thing is to ask Russian vids, then assume the opposite is true. Cameron Jones says 33 doctors agree that you're crazy, Russian vids. And oh wow, okay, some more just came in. Route 66. Lakes do have charts. Look up the Great Lakes tide charts. Lakes do have tides, I think is what he means. Look up
No, they
the
don't.
Great Lakes tide charts.
It's not
True
true.
Blue says, I just typed flat Earth in the numerology calculator. Guess what? It equals 33.
Just like Big Bang.
Carmen Rubino says the moon is mocking me. Stop that. Vibrantly Brantley says, what is Nunbot with this new point thing? Points are later on hopefully this week, by the end of this week, you'll be able to take the number of points that you have and trade them in for either things like free super chats or merchandise from the store and a couple other things. It's just with the chat bots program, there's so many people in there that I have to block it off right, and so that once you turn in those points, they're gone, and I want to make sure that it's right. So it's going to take me a couple days to get that, but I will definitely let you guys know when that is happening. Matthew Walker says, have a drink on me. Thank you. Pierce Elliott says, Russian vids and numerology is 33. Russian vids equals Illuminati. Valeth 1337. Shannon is a simulation of a sexy librarian.
That's true.
Taliesin Overlander says, what are Russian vids' thoughts on the reptilians? Oh man.
Yeah.
No,
I'll say it real quick.
Why?
Yeah, David
No, you
Icke.
won't.
Yeah,
No, you won't.
hold on. It'll be a couple seconds. David Icke is disinfo. He pulls people in with a lot of truth in the beginning. Once he has a good amount of followers, he leads them down the false path. Bottom line is this: reptilians are nothing more than fallen angels. It's a twist on the truth. They're not from a planet Draconia. They're basically fallen angels. He's just twisting things around.
Are you speaking
Well,
non-ironically right now? Are you
and,
speaking like you really think that reptilians are actually Nephilim, like are fallen angels, still exist on Earth, but they do in fact exist?
Well, I'll just answer that real quick. Yeah, Nephilim are the fallen.
It's real simple.
The fallen angels. They created giants. So they're not the actual offspring are not Nephilim. It's just the ones that initially fell are Nephilim. That's actually what it means to fall. Nephilim means to fall. So the offspring, they became mighty men. These were the giants that were.
Okay, so that's the point that you felt needed clarification. Oh my God!
Yes, because
so you really
because people call the offspring Nephilim. That's not true. They're the offspring of the Nephilim. That's
Hello,
you
darkness,
really think
my
that
old
angels
friend.
fell to Earth, and that there are still
Come to play
angels
with
on
you
Earth
again.
today, and that
Yeah,
people
There's
by the way,
good
I thought this
angels.
was right.
Bloodline.
The
there's a
Nephilim, I just looked it
bloodline.
up. Well, hang on. The Nephilim, what I just looked it up is to cause other people to fall. That's what it was. And by the way, I have a question for Russian before we.
I'm not. Hold on, Steve. Let me finish. Yeah, let me finish these super chats. By the way, there's a question on the in the live chat. Yes, you do get points too for super chats and subscribing. You get I think 30 or 50 extra points for either of those. Mystical Banana says Russian vids Did you choose the thug life, or did the thug life choose you? Shannon, keep holding down the block, my G. And Ziggy Zack says Pythagoras murdered the man that invented fractions. True story. Let me make sure that's all.
Yeah, Steve, you had a question?
Yep, that's all. Steve, go ahead.
Yeah, at the very beginning, you said about foundations, right? If you foundations are wrong, then you have to continue to make things up, and you have to continue to feed into it. You have to continue to make up stories and protect your things from if your foundations are crumbling. Can you be a little self-aware that seems to be exactly what you're doing here? If your foundations were wrong at the beginning, doesn't it seem to be the case that you're more likely the one to just continue to compound one mistake after another mistake because you have bad foundational beginnings?
Well, that's. I'm glad you asked that, Steve. Bottom line is this: anybody that believes in A is going to believe Z is crazy. So, like I said, we're taught on opposites, and this foundation of opposites are everywhere in this world, like the backslide. Literally, this concept of walking backwards from Aleister Crowley, the law of reversal. Names like Sega. It's not a word. Sega in reverse is ages.
You don't answer questions, though, RussianVids.
Yeah, that's not even answering my question at all. I'm asking you, are you self-aware that you could be having bad foundations?
I'm trying to say is this. I understand what you're getting at. I sound absolutely loony to people that are told A, but the reality is Z. That's what I'm trying to explain. I get it. If 20 years ago, if I was someone telling me this stuff, I thought I was a nut myself. If I was talking to myself 20 years ago, that type of thing. So I get it. This information is not gonna be processed and realized overnight in a month. Some of this will take years and years because it's really uncomfortable. Like flat Earth, it's a really horrible stigma they place on the flat Earth truth. That's to keep us away from it, because people want to be liked and accepted. You're going to be considered a complete moron in society if you believe in a flat Earth. I get it. I understand that. So that's why they put up a really bad stigma on believing the Earth is flat. That's simple.
But
yeah, I'm not
the
sure
question was about the foundations of your belief system, though. He essentially just asked you, is there a potential that the foundation of your belief system initially could have been flawed? It's essentially, it's fundamentally a yes or no question, but you went into a diatribe regarding how people perceive.
I'll explain it.
No.
Again,
so I want you to answer that again for the people who didn't hear. You think that your foundations cannot be wrong?
No, I'll tell you why. Okay. Because I didn't come to these conclusions overnight. They're solid. Is based on solid research for many, many years. So a lot of things that I come to this conclusion, connecting all the pieces, is solid from all the events I've covered. And again, if you want to, like Elon Musk says, we live in a computer simulation. No, they are the ones doing the simulating. They're simulating our reality. So we don't live in a computer simulation. They're simulating our world around us. So he says that in the next week or so, he has Starman in space, supposedly. And you can see the freaking baller through the spokes of the front wheel. It's complete garbage. That's it. So these people are enlightened. They are intelligent. And it's like this. When you're in grade school, the stupid kid they're always poked fun and made fun of and teased. That's what they're doing to us. They think we're a bunch of idiots, a bunch of morons, and they're just playing with us.
Oh my God. RussianVids, I think you're right. I was just listening to it. Listen, I was just listening to a song before we came, like we went live. I always have a playlist that I listen to. And you hear about the Led Zeppelin. If you play the record backwards, it's the devil saying something. I was listening to Pink Floyd's Wish You Were Here. And I think in that song, now that I'm thinking about it, they give a clue that we are in the flat Earth under a dome, because the line is, we're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl year after year.
Yes. Well, here's the funny thing is, they have a song by Toto, 21st Century Blues. How can we believe the world is round? I just can't believe it. I just can't conceive it. How can people not see this is a big machine? Am I the only one that can see it's just a big machine? There's
Pink Floyd, welcome to the machine.
Yeah, and here's something else too. There's two songs called Blinded by Science. One by, of course, Thomas Dolby, and listen to the song by Foreigner. They have a song called Blinded by Science. So it's duality. They put the truth in music and movies and the lies in the news. That's duality.
Okay,
Opposites.
And babies
that's the whole principle of duality. Yeah.
Becky.
That's it.
Becky, they're putting the globe on the ass of people. Like they're making an ass of the globe. baby got back.
Yeah, I like big
It
butt.
makes sense.
That's meaning big globe.
Okay, last two.
The Earth and the Moon.
NA
two globes,
says, Shannon Q, if you're ever interested in a blue-collar, intellectually inferior and below average looking guy, I'm your man. Stephen says, RV, what's 2001 minus 1973? And Zetar 2482 says, ask him
No, that's South Tower.
if you've ever done hallucinogenic drugs.
Never touch drugs. Don't drink sodas. Don't drink diet
Maybe
or
you should
regular.
start.
Don't smoke.
Maybe you should start.
Drugs might actually work for you. Yeah, I'm not gonna.
Hey, I never
stop you on that
never
one.
had any help.
You know,
Never been to the hospital
Stalin
in my life.
took
I'm
the
45.
DMT. Mao took the DMT. Nobody seen that? Okay. All right. Everybody, this was a pleasure. I'm glad we didn't have to kick you out this time, RussianVids. It's nice to see you stay till the end.
Thank you, Steve.
And I hope that I hope that you got everything that you wanted to say out, because you said so much.
Well, I'm very concise. I don't waste time, Kyle. I like to be concise and not waffle and just get the information out there. I don't believe in just talking and saying nothing type of thing. You know. Sorry about that. I'm talking over you. I see your eyes.
You're okay. You're okay. No, my eyes are because I'm tired.
Kyle.
My brain's offline. My brain's going.
Kyle, you wore him out. You wore Kyle out. RussianVids.
Yeah.
Done.
Cal.exe.
I wear everybody out.
We'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Thank you again to Shannon Q, RussianVids, Steve, Dave, the whole team, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow at 8 o'clock. And go to Shannon's MS Drive and make sure that you donate. Let's smash that goal. Shannon will put it in the chat. Good night, everybody.
Okay.
Good night.